Oh, hi everyone. How are you? I hope you're all doing fine. Um, as I told you guys, I'm in that area of the United States where we are having the big chill. And I mean, it is freaking cold and it's just I love it because it's like a really good time to just be stuck at home in a snowstorm for me. Um because I'm recovering from this surgery. And it makes it not as hard to be um, kind of stuck at home and not doing anything. Um, I'm healing really well. My doctor and surgeon finally got their like peer to peer review through the insurance. And so the insurance would now cover pain pills. So they called me to tell me that. And I'm like, it's a week. It's a week since I've had surgery. And it took my insurance that long to approve this to be sure that I would be doing everything correctly and wouldn't get canceled from this doctor to that doctor to that doctor. It's like I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I'm fine. Tylenol is doing fine. And it's our sad state of the war on chronic pain patients. It was supposed to be the war on drugs, and that was the 80s. But they figured out that they couldn't really do anything, so they just started, you know, going after people who were in pain and making them feel like criminals. And it's it's such a ridiculous situation that I have been put in, and so many millions of people have been put in. It it's just horrible, and where I really tried to um be uh I want to say forthcoming, but that's not the word I'm thinking. COVID brain. I tried to be just like really ahead of things and had my doctor write out his big thing so that the surgeon knew who he was and the surgeon could talk to him, and made sure that both office managers knew who prescribes my Suboxone for pain control, and had everything written out so that on the day of my surgery, when I came in, I had both instructions from both doctors so they could talk to each other easily. I had emailed both to say, hey, you guys might be receiving a phone call from one or the other. I did everything. I just didn't see that the insurance was going to pull that crap, and pulling it on a Thursday made it so that when they started their appeal, it started Friday and then had to go the weekend. And then, Bobby Sue and Holly Mae had to be out on vacation and leave. And it's just so stupid. So then by the time that they got everything all done for me, it was a week. So, what I could tell you, if any of you are in my position where you have chronic pain and are going through a surgery and you're on Suboxone for pain management, do what I did where you're talking to every doctor and call the damn insurance and ask them to do their override and their God, I'm having a hard time with words. Oh, what is it? Good, good God, good God Almighty! Something just flew at me. Um, where they are, I can't. Oh, what is it called? It's called like the pre-auth. They did that, and that was supposed to go through very quick, but like I say, just nothing could go right. So if you're in my position, tell them way ahead of it. Say, hey, I know that I'm going to need a prior authorization to be able to have pain meds for my surgery because you're going to prescribe them. So get the prior auth before you go into surgery so that it's all done and maybe see if they can do a test run and order your pain meds the day before so that you have them at home. Because what I just dealt with was just ridiculous. But like I say, I've made it a week with, nothing more than I had before the surgery. And now, it's a week and I'm okay. I didn't need anything from anybody apparently. And I'm able to control my pain with Flexeril, the Suboxone, and the Tylenol. And I'm just to the point now where I'm really antsy. Like, I want this freaking sling off of me. Um, it's just grating on my last nerve. And somehow I heard him say that it was 2 weeks. So before the surgery, when my husband was in there, um, I said to the surgeon, I was like, oh, okay, so you want me to wear that sling for, it was 2 weeks, you said? He's like, 6 weeks. And I was like, are you sure it wasn't 2 weeks? He's like, no, 6 weeks. So my husband heard that. So, so when I keep trying to take this mofo off for a while, he's like, because a surgeon told him not to let me do any kind of like chicken wing movement, of moving my shoulder or my elbow upwards or sideways or anything. They just really want it to set really well for the first 2 weeks. That's what he was talking about, was making sure that I don't do anything like that. And then at the 2 week mark, I start physical therapy and all that. But if this was a cast, I would have already cut it off. I swear this sling makes me claustrophobic. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? So, we had some problems with our internet and we switched to a different provider and stuff. So I wasn't able to upload parts 12 and 13 until today. So those both should be up. And I saw that where I was trying to type in the parts 12 and 13, it didn't go. It just has the page numbers. I'm trying to peck it in with my left hand and it just takes forever. And then I'll hit something wrong and then it'll go back and blah, blah, blah. So if you watch by the page numbers, you'll know which one is first and second. And then I was trying to make a playlist of all of the Discovery, so that'll be easier for you just to listen to them all in a row. But then I hit the wrong key and hit the wrong key, and I'm a mess. But I have a lot of snow to look at outside, and that pleases me. I love snow. It's just so magical and pure, and we have the kind of snow that has that little starry glistening magic part on the top. I just love it. Love it. So I love it. Love it. Love it. And I might make the Hubbers take me looking at Christmas lights tomorrow or something. So I hope you guys are doing that too and just enjoying the simple things, enjoying hot chocolate. And if you're in the region where I am too and you're kind of stuck, just enjoy it. Enjoy the simplicity of it all. We all got kind of slowed down with the pandemic, and I think that we all were just kind of moving too fast before. We were just in this rat race, and the pandemic made us look at everything and say, why are we doing all this? We can live with less. We can downsize. We can do this. We can get by with this instead of that. And I guess that kind of put us in a better position for the stupid inflation. I mean, when I was trying to get the ingredients to make my butter cookies, I say like $5 for 4 things of butter and everything else. I'm like, oh my God, it's so expensive. And obviously I didn't get to make my butter cookies because, well, everything just creeped up on me. Now I can't use my right arm to do anything. So I hope you guys are having fun and making cookies and all that good stuff. And with that all being said, I'm going to go ahead and start here. The page before was blank. There was just a bunch of blank pages that led us to page 370. So we'll start on page, it was going to be 369, but that was a blank page. So we have 370 out of 1,960 in the Watts discovery. And this is still a continuation of the discovery, page 420, which I thought would be just very perfect, being as Colorado is so green, if you know what I mean. Oh, that rhymes. So this is another unclassified cover sheet for serial export. And let's see here. So a DVD storing all records received. So they probably had some DVDs in here along with it, all of their stuff that was probably all shoved inside this thing. Now we're at discovery, page 421. Oh, here we go. Ronnie Watts. Yay. And you know what? I have so many other documents that I collected along the way when I was getting this, that I'll be able to just read all of these things and everything. There's so much. You wouldn't believe all that I've found. So I thank you for listening and going on this journey of really looking at things to see where things generated from, where the source of rumors came out of. And I thank you for going back to the beginning with me. And thank you for all of the love and prayers and everything that you guys send. I see them. I just can't answer them right now. So without further ado, here we go. We're going to talk to Papa Ronnie. Ronnie Watts, date of birth redacted, home address redacted, Spring Lake, North Carolina, 28390, cellular phone 910 redacted, was interviewed at the Frederick Police Department, 333 5th Street, Frederick, Colorado. Also present for the interview was Colorado Bureau of CBI. How about if I just say the fucking CBI? Okay. So, also present for the interview was Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Kellen Hassenstab. After being advised of the identity of the interviewing agents and the nature of the interview, Watts provided the following information. Now, there is something in bold writing that I'm going to read, and it says note, and this is in bold, and it says the below is an interview summary. It is not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. Communications by the parties in the interview room were electronically recorded. The recording captures the actual words spoken. The recording of this interview is maintained within the Frederick Police Department case file. This interview was conducted minutes after Christopher Watts had confessed to killing Shanann. Okay, so the person who wrote that in bold misinterpreted what Christopher Watts said. He did, and I guess a lot of people could argue with me because, and maybe this is correct, I guess, because he's saying he confessed to killing Shanann, because ultimately he did say that he killed Shanann. He didn't say the girl. So I guess we'll let this fly. Now, I've not seen this disclaimer placed for the other interviews. And I think that it's because Papa Ronnie mumbles. He's a real mumbler. A channel that I really like, it used to be called Black and White TV, and it's Kimberly Swears, or Kimberly, what did it say? I Swear Kimberly. That's what it was. Or is. I haven't looked for her forever because I've been busy. But she did a lot of reading, and she is just hilarious. And she she really took some of the interviews and took a lot of the things out, like the ticking clock, and when the guy kept clearing his throat, and really let you hear the interviews free of those annoying things. So check and see if she's still out there. I just love her. But she's hilarious about her Papa Ronnie and his mumbling, and she kind of interpreted some of his mumbling because he's just the sweet. I think Papa Ronnie's the sweetest man, and I think that if Papa Ronnie could have fixed this, he would have. And I think that's why Papa Ronnie got in the air and just got on a plane and tried to find Shanann and the girls, because I think he was just going to tell them to knock it off. And he was just going to fix things, because that's the kind of guy that I think Papa Ronnie is. He just wanted to fix things and make it right. I think we should all have a nice person in our life like Papa Ronnie. Except for Kane. Isn't that always like the the what the fuck out of it? Because I guess when Christopher went off to college, to NASCAR college, he missed his Christopher. His Christopher and him were buddies. And so he went through a lonely stage, and so he started to do some blow. And I can't really even picture Papa Ronnie going to go and score some blow, but he did. And I don't even know how Papa Ronnie would know how to get it. And maybe it didn't even start out as blow, because maybe he mumbled. They thought that's what he meant. Maybe it was something else. I don't know. It was just darn powdered sugar. So, here we go. Watts has never known his son Christopher to have used drugs, have any mental health issues to include depression, nor have violent tendencies. To his knowledge, Christopher has never taken any medicine for mental health issues and was a strong student in school. Christopher participated in many sports growing up and prioritized that and his schoolwork over dating. Christopher was asked to prom by a girl instead of asking someone himself. Recently, Christopher had lost a lot of weight through following the weight loss program Shanann was promoting. What? Felt that Christopher did not want to participate in it, but was doing it because Shanann was forcing him to. Oh no. Oh. Watts believed that neither Christopher nor Shanann wanted another child. Watts described Shanann as being extremely bipolar and had paranoid tendencies towards his wife. What? The grandmother of their grandchildren. Okay, I see. Okay. Papa Ronnie's just laying shit bare, man. Because it goes, Watts believed that neither Christopher nor Shanann wanted another child. Well, shit, don't we know what causes that? And then Watts described Shanann as being extremely bipolar and had paranoid tendencies towards his wife, the grandmother of their grandchildren. So, yeah, he is saying that Shanann had paranoid tendencies towards Cindy. I mean, and I agree. She targeted Cindy from day one. She didn't want another woman in Christopher's life. She wanted to be Christopher's new mommy. You know? In one instance, Shanann accused Watts's wife, so that would be Cindy Watts, of trying to kill her kids, that'd be Bella and Cece, by exposing them to peanuts, for which they had an allergy. A few weeks prior, when Shanann was last in North Carolina, it was very contentious, and Shanann spent the majority of the time at her parents' house, refusing to allow Watts and his wife to see the grandchildren. Let me see. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. There we go. All right. Watts could not reconcile why Christopher admitted to killing Shanann. Well, that's a question that we're all wondering here. 4 years, 4 months, 7 days later, I'm in the middle of the night up wondering this. And my 812 friends are all listening to me and wondering this too. And like I say, I've got all the other documents. I've got everything from court. I've got it all. We're going to see everything that they didn't want us to see and they didn't think was relevant when they were doing their narrative. I've got it all. I have it. So here we are, Discovery page 423. We're still going on in the evening interview of Ronnie Watts on 8/15/2018. Towards the conclusion of the interview, Watts played a video on his phone for agents which showed his wife playing with Christopher and Shanann's 2 daughters. So that would be Cindy Watts playing with Bella and Cece. A copy of the audio recording is maintained on a DVD in an FD340. The original copy of the recording is stored at the Frederick Police Department. Little side note, they couldn't have the original if he was showing it from his phone. Okay. Discovery page 424. And another thing. Okay, so now we are Mark E. Leher did an audio recording, and let's see what this is. Discovery page 425. Okay, and this is another FBI thing, and it says date of entry 9/11/2018. This document serves to memorialize notes taken by SSRA Todd Sandstedt, S.A. Kevin Hoyland, and S.A. Philip Jones pertaining to captioned investigation that do not necessarily pertain to documented interviews or other substantiative reports. Oh, what do we have here then? No, it's more handwriting. No. Okay. So the triangle symbol is here again. And I see it right away where it says Nikki Kissinger, possible triangle's girlfriend. So the triangle thing must be Christopher. Must be their main man. So this goes and they have the address listed and they have some phone numbers written down, and then Nicola Utoft, and then Anna Darko, and it says daycare on Friday, found phone under cushions, as said kid. Christopher said kid found phone, found wedding ring on counter. Leonard King lives in North Carolina. Nicole adamant Chris is cheating. Credit card charge for dinner, may have had someone else. And then this is in parentheses and it says mom. So I think we've got, a Scooby-Doo Shanann Rue mother leading the case again. She's got her spectacles on and she's just calling them in. Because then it says, Chris, so it's that triangle, and it says triangle garage left open. Triangle and said clothes, master bed, sheets off bed, fitted sheet on. Then it says pregnant / boy. Well, so like I say, there is nothing to prove that's a boy. There's not been anything to this point in the discovery, and I haven't seen anything other until I see something that is actually legal. There is nothing saying that was a boy other than one of the lies in here. No signs of a struggle, cleaning fluids, no blood. 3-car garage, can't see tail, triangle V's, car blocking, triangle, truck backing fully. And then we have triangle, and then it says Thayer. And then return. And then it says night, so that must be when he called to say he's spending the night. Coworkers in Arizona, Troy McCoy, Anadarko, Triangle's close friend. Neighborhood canvas, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. PD tips to WCSO. CSI Mitchell Way, prenatal. Tony Roberts, Troy. Triangle's alibi attitude. Kevin, tech downloads, Dave Colin, Nicole heard 3 different stories. Rocky's Saturday. Whoop. Liberty, James. Security Denver, Troy McCoy, Cody Roberts, Shannon Morgan, OIC Ops Center, Kristen Griffin, Melissa Parrish, Chad McNeil. So those are just little chicken scratches again. We're to Discovery page 427. And then we go here and we're on page 375 of 1960, and it's more chicken scratch where it says Tony Husky, retired cop, security. Nicole Kissinger called in sick today. Last bad good yesterday at noon. Group me would have plainclothes officer today and tomorrow and Friday. Okay. Why did Nicole Kissinger call in sick? What made her unable to perform her job? What made her call in sick? What do you guys think of that? What made Nicole Kissinger call in sick to her job because Christopher Watts' wife and children were missing? That note looks like it's talking about things in real time. So it wasn't as the confession. I mean, I could see that she'd be overcome with emotion if she heard, that he had confessed. And I'm not a Nicole Kissinger hater or lover. I don't really feel either way on her. I have not seen enough information from either side to think one way or another with her. I know that people feel strongly about her. It's just generally very polarizing. Either people really think she's involved or people really don't think she's involved. I don't know. I don't see enough. But I do find it interesting that she called in sick. I give the cats a snack. But I think that's interesting to note that she called in sick. Okay. So now it goes on to talk about Nikki Kissinger. The way that he wrote it, he said, Nikki Kissinger may have relationship, life insurance policy, victims. Huh? Victim. Then it says, married before in North Carolina. He is attorney. It says, yeah, that's what it looks. It looks like that says an attorney. It says Nicole Kissinger may have relationship, life insurance policy, victim, something. Then married before in North Carolina. He is attorney. Then 970. And then it says salmon dinner, first day, responding officer advised. Okay. And now it says tips are going to Weld Dispatch. And then it says Thayer's contact. Information. And then it says Troy McCoy, Luke Epple, Phil to something. And then it says press briefing at 3:30. So I am eating. You guys are gonna laugh. This bag of candy that I have on my desk, I was not able to eat until I got my teeth fixed, and now I'm working on ruining my teeth again. They are gummy candies. They're from Halloween, so they're candy corn gummies. They're like, I love candy corn, but these are like candy corn gummy bears, and they're vanilla flavored, and they're so good. And I got them for 50 cents. I think I got them the day after Halloween. So, I'm being disgusting and chewing into my mic. Like I say, I was that person who was always like, "Oh, you're so gross! Don't chew into the mic, you freak! Why can't you eat when you're off camera, not doing a recording?" But there's something about when I find a nugget of information that I have to chew on. I literally have to chew on. And Nicole Kissinger calling in sick. That just really makes me want to chew on something. You know what I mean? And so, on Discovery page 429, whoever is writing this wrote in red pen. You know the kind of red pen when you're in trouble at school and your teacher writes, well, redo this shit. That's the kind of red pen writing I'm looking at. And it has two phone numbers. It says husband and wife. I'm assuming that's the Thayer's numbers, because it says something about the Thayer's in the one before. And it says husband Facebook deactivated. We know that that's talking about Christopher. And it says Shanann Watts. And it says Tony Husky, Anadarko, 3, and then these two dates are redacted. And then it says something security, something, and I can't make out that word. And then something says Nicole again. And then that's the end of that. And we're at Discovery page 430, and we're still in the FBI investigation phase. Now, we're on page 378 of 1960 if you're keeping track by the pages. We're still on 9/11 of 2018. Now what this one says here is it says on 8/14 of 2018 through 8/15 of 2018, S.A. Roiland communicated via email with various private companies to obtain records under exigency for the captioned investigation. Those records are documented under Serial 13 in the captioned file and are stored on a DVD contained in 1A17. The incoming and outgoing emails with S.A. Hoyland or Roiland, I can't, it's blurry right here, are zipped and attached electronically via FD TAC 340. So there must be another DVD in this. And then we're in Discovery, page 431. And it's saying here that, this is the defendant named Christopher Lee Watts, and it's given a case number. And then it's saying that it has these things in it. It says it has a supplemental of the Troy McCoy text, phones, and messages. It has the Luke Epple cell phone video. Luke Epple cell phone video. What's that? And then it has the Kessinger interview. And then it has the Hoyland attachment with exigent data. And then the Hoyland attachment with the exigent zip file. Okay? Discovery, page 433. And now we're with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation Case Master Report. 2018, TAC 273, date initiated 8/14/2018, contains entities exempt from disclosure. So, oh Jesus, it's from the lead LEO, the Hamburglar. And so here we go. Primary information: Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Division of Investigations, and the office is Denver. And the lead LEO, so Law Enforcement Officer, Lee Tammy, Agent 5202, Denver, CBI Denver. Type of case is a missing persons, and the case subtype is adult missing person. Subtype of that is a juvenile missing person. And the case description is the assist with the Frederick PD with missing persons case. The total time, 129-30. So maybe that's 129 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know. But I don't like the Hamburglar. The Hamburglar was a man, and the subject was a woman. The way that the Hamburglar sexually massaged Christopher Watts' shoulders is very inappropriate. She got away with it because she is a woman. But just think of a man massaging a female suspect's shoulders like that. It's not okay. It was really, really inappropriate. And the things that she said, about the polygraph and everything else, she bulldozed him. And I mean, he has that yes ma'am attitude. He'll do anything to please anybody. And he, the way she was like, well, let's just do this so you can go home. Let's just do this. You know what, Chris? Let's just do this. And she knew. And so he felt that, I can't speak for him, but I think that he felt that if he got a lawyer, Tammy Lee would be mad at him. And he was trying to make everybody happy. And because of that, he sits in a jail cell right now. Entry date 8/27/2018. Occurred date 8/14/2018. And it says the status is open. And it says endangered missing alert Frederick PD. And it says open case, chain of command for the dissemination. And we're at Discovery, page 434. And it's over here, and it's saying missing person and triple homicide investigation. Missing persons and triple homicide investigation. Reporting law enforcement is Kirby Quinn Lewis, AIC, CBI Denver. Approved by Ralph Gagliardi. And the synopsis is assistance to the Frederick Police Department's request for a missing persons investigation. And it's saying that it happened at 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, 80530. So you know how they just said that the house was sold and it sold to a family? I've not heard anything, but I am just really hoping that they had their house blessed. That's something that a lot of people do when they, move into a new home. They have it blessed by their religious leader. But I would definitely hope they did that. Just kind of cleanse it, open up every window. Use some sage. Responsibly sourced sage from the nearest Native American operated and ran establishment. Okay. Officers Baumhover Dave. He's back. Can't ever get away from Baumhover, can we? Now I'm eating sesame seeds. Miss Nicole Kissinger calling in just absolutely ignited my appetite. Discovery page 435. All right. All this is probably stuff to make sure that the financing is covered. So we're just going to read this really quick. So the synopsis says it's assistance to the Frederick Police Department's request for a missing persons investigation. Taken. On August 14, 2018, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation received information about an ongoing missing persons incident occurring in Frederick, Colorado. At 11:44 a.m., intelligence analyst Jillian Ganley contacted Frederick Police Department Detective Dave Baumhover to offer assistance with a media alert. Detective Baumhover requested assistance with a missing endangered alert for Shanann Watts and her two daughters, Bella and Celeste Watts. See analyst Ganley's associated tip for details concerning the alert bulletin. Detective Baumhover also requested investigative assistance from CBI. Agents Hamburglar, Tammy Lee, Greg Zettner, Stacy Galbraith, Matt Saylor, Kevin Kobach, and agent in charge Kirby Lewis responded to the Frederick Police Department to assist. An investigation was initiated, and the attachments are none for this report. Then it says agent in charge Kirby Lewis, 8/17 of 2018, Discovery page 436, and it says the endangered missing advisory report form. And it's written in these big old letters, like the kind of letters that you put on your refrigerator magnets. You know, like when kids put magnets on a refrigerator, that kind of stuff. So that's there. And it says broadcasters. This is a request for your voluntary cooperation in airing the following information either as an alert message or in your next newscasts until you receive a cancellation form. The EAS will not be activated for this alert. EAS. Some emergency action system or something, I don't know. Status activation, new information. Oh, here's a picture of Bella. Really sad. So it's a requesting agency from Frederick Police Department from Detective Baumhover. And it has the child one information. And so we've got a picture of Bella Watts. And it has a picture of her and then a picture of Celeste Watts. And it says they were last seen in the area of Frederick, Colorado. And then it says companion. And it says Shanann Watts, white, 5'5" hazel, hairstyle long, female, 148 pounds, black hair, has nose piercing, last seen in the area of Frederick, Colorado. Discovery page 437, it says, It says Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3 and 4 years old, were last seen on Monday, August 13th, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado. Shanann is 15 weeks pregnant. No, she's not. There is no vehicle associated at this time. If you have questions or information about this missing person media alert, please contact the requesting law enforcement agency. If you have questions about the alert programs, please contact the Colorado Bureau of Investigation at 303-239-4211 or www.colorado.gov/Pacific/CBI. And the bottom thing says December 8th, 2014, which is weird. So I don't know if that's just their standard letter form that they had on there. So it says the day and date of Monday, August 13th, and it says 1:30 p.m. And then when it says the circumstances that they were last seen on Monday, August 13th, it's just interesting because who saw them on Monday, August 13th? Who saw them? If we break it down to who saw them on Monday, we really don't have that as a factual statement, because even in Christopher's story where he said that they fought at in the middle of the night at 5 a.m, he's talking about his wife. And that was at 5:30. I mean, and the girls were locked in their doors, in their rooms, so he didn't say that he saw the girls on Monday either. So really, truly, the last time the girls were seen alive by anybody, that's a question that has been brought up a lot. And even at this point where they're writing that out, they should have known that that's not correct information. I mean, when was the last time the girls were seen by anybody other than Christopher Watts? Was that the babysitter? I mean, and Christopher could say that, he put them to bed the night before, but that's not the 13th then, that's the 12th. Okay. So, now, here it comes, and it goes into Discovery page 438. And it has those big old letters again. Endangered Missing Advisory Report form. And it says, broadcasters, this is a request for your voluntary cooperation in airing the following information either as an alert message or in your next newscast until you receive a cancellation form. The EAS will not be activated for this alert. Now, it has a status, and it's in red, and it says deactivation. And it says new information. Shanann, Bella, and Celeste have been located. Now that's really interesting, because what date did they change that to? I don't know if they're just, showing that this was updated or what, because the date is not on that where they put that. Yeah, there's nothing saying what date they've changed that information and how they changed that. Okay, so now we're at Discovery page 440, 387 out of 1960 if you're following that way. Colorado Bureau of Investigation investigative supplement. Report date 8/17/2018. So we have the primary information, and we have Cody Roberts, Anadarko employee interview. And that's on 8/15/2018 from 15:30 to 16:30. So that's from 3:30 to 4:30 to us civilians. And it says the reporting law enforcement agency is Stacy Galbraith. agent out of Denver, CBI Denver, approved. Approval date 8/20 of 2018, and then approved by Kirby Quinn Lewis. And it says here in the synopsis that on 8/15/2018 at about 15:50 hours, I, Agent Stacy Galbraith, interviewed Anadarko Petroleum employee Cody Roberts in the lobby interview room of Frederick Police Department. Doesn't say of the, it says of. Christopher Watts texted Cody Roberts on Sunday, 8/12/2018, to inform him that he would respond to Survey Monday morning for work. See narrative and attachments. Address number 1 occurred number 100 West Patrick Street. That's in Colorado, 21701, United States, at the Frederick Police Department. And it says in here, and it says subject witness number 1, Roberts Cody, and it says he's a person. Well, isn't that just breaking news? And it says he's a 22-year-old white male. And it says he's not a juvenile. Well, that's also, because you say he's 22. And it says he's an operator for Anadarko Petroleum. It doesn't say petroleum, petrol. That's a good job for a 22-year-old. And then it says this is a page 1 of 6 narration, and it's in Discovery, page 441. And it goes here, and it says in the synopsis that on 8/14 of 2018, Frederick Police Department requested the assistance of CBI in a missing persons case. Shanann Watts and her daughters Bella Watts and Celeste Cece Watts were missing from their residence in Frederick and last seen by Christopher Watts, husband and father. Action taken. On 8/15, at about 15:50 hours, I, CBI agent Stacy Galbraith, interviewed Anadarko Petroleum Corporation employee Cody Roberts in the lobby interview room of Frederick Police Department. And it has Cody Roberts, and that's redacted, and it says he lives in Greeley, Colorado, 80634. The following information was derived from said interview. Said Roberts first learned that Shanann Watts and her children were missing by reviewing Facebook posts on 8/14/2018. Roberts then called Troy McCoy to confirm what he read. Roberts has known Chris Watts for 2 years working at Anadarko and considers him a work friend. They do not hang outside of work. Roberts reported that Watts worked Monday, 8/14/2018. Watts texted Roberts at 0630 hours and said he was going to Survey Ranch. Chad McNeil called Roberts at 0640 hours and told him to come out to 10 TAC 29 pump unit. Roberts was going to meet Watts there. Roberts was waiting around from 0720 to 0730 at the Survey State well pump, and McNeil told Roberts to go ahead and fire up the pump. Roberts believed Watts was at 319 with Troy McCoy. Okay, so this, what we're reading right now, is also very much scrutinized as to what was going on, who was where, and Troy McCoy either being a suspect or not. So this is some meat we're dealing with. We have to keep going through and cutting off all the fat to get right to the meat of the bacon here. Okay. I want to read that again because it's really packed with information. Roberts reported that Watts worked Monday, 8/14/2018. Okay. Watts texted Roberts at 0630 hours and said he was going to Survey Ranch. Okay. Chad McNeil called Roberts at 0640 hours and told him to come out to 10 TAC 29 pump unit. Roberts was going to meet Watts there. Roberts was waiting around from 0720 to 0730 hours at the Survey State well pump, and McNeil told Roberts to go ahead and fire up the pump. Roberts believed Watts was at 319 with Troy McCoy. This is interesting. This is really interesting because this is putting another timeline that's really important. Okay, so I'm going to write this out like in bullet on this one because the times. Okay. At 0838 hours, Roberts called Watts and Watts did not answer. Okay. That's important. Roberts assumed Watts was out pressure testing a line. Watts called back 10 minutes later and said he was at Survey 319 checking something out and that McCoy was there too. He said the line was definitely bad. Okay. So that places him there. Okay. Something isn't right with the timeline that Watts said about this. Roberts thought Watts seemed normal that day, but possibly like something was bothering him. Watts was at his truck a lot that day. Roberts believed Watts to be a great guy. He was quiet and was willing to help. Roberts said there are 7 total well pump sites on the Survey Ranch. The ones that Roberts named were 319, 1029, 629, and 1129. Watts was at Survey Ranch alone at 6:30 hours per Roberts. Watts had texted Roberts on Sunday, 8/12/2018, to tell Roberts that Watts was going to go from his house to Survey on Monday morning. This was not usual communication between Watts and Roberts for a weekend, but was not totally out of the realm as Roberts has talked to Watts over a weekend before. He was a bit surprised that Watts contacted him on a Sunday, though. It was unusual, but not shocking. That goes to premeditation. Text messages between him and Watts. I took photos of them, which are attached to his supplemental report. And this is signed by Agent Stacy Galbraith. And it's 17th of August on 2018. That's the page 1 there. Discovery page 442. We're coming over here, and again it says the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and it says the following depicts the text communication between Watts and Roberts. Sunday, 8/12. So at Watts says 17:06 hours. So that'll be 5:06. He says, I have whip checks for the Survey 6 TAC 29. I'm going to go straight out there from my house in the morning. I will look at that 319 as well and run the 1129 if you want. Robert says 17:20 hours. I was going to head out there first thing tomorrow to check out the 319. Did Troy talk to you about what I had found out there on Friday afternoon? Watts says at 17:22, "Yep, I was standing right next to him, LOL." Watts says 17:22 hours, "I was giving him a fire stick to look at." Watts says at 17:23 hours, "I can go out there though. No sense in both of us going out there, LOL." Roberts at 18:09 hours, "All right, sounds good, man. I appreciate it. I think I have a couple of conies left out there. I can let you know in the morning, and let me know if you find anything at the 319. If not, we may pressure test that BP line and see if it's leaking underground." Watts, 18:12 hours. "Copy that." Monday, 8/13/2018. Watts at 0631 hours says, "Where you at?" Roberts at 0632 hours says, "Just got fuel in Kersey." Well, these right here are really placing him, because he's not gonna say that he's somewhere on there that he's not. So this is interesting too. Okay, so and one more time, we're on page 390 of 1960. Watt says at 0633 hours, "Okay, I'm in Survey." And then 633 he says, "Where are you going first?" Roberts at 0633 says, "DPC State." Watts at 0634 hours, thumbs up emoji. Roberts at 0635 hours, "I need to call Chad and see if plans on still stoke. I'm sorry. I need to call Chad and see if plans on still stroking the 1029 out there." It doesn't have the right wording in that, but and then it says out there to see if it'll pump up. And Roberts at 0635 says, "If so, I have to meet him or he will have to get the Canon plugs from Tony K." Watts says at 0635 hours, "Okay, let me know before I leave here." And Watts at 0638 hours says, "I think he might be heading out there today. Phone was breaking up pretty bad." Roberts says at 0659 hours, "I guess I'm headed out that way to start up the 1029 and Chad will be meeting me out there." Chad will be meeting me or there. Our there. Chad will be meeting me or there. So it's OUR instead of out. And then he corrected it, set it at the same time he wrote out. Okay, that's why. Okay. So this is me talking to you guys for a second. You know how they have the Group Me app? I don't see that they're using the Group Me. The Group Me app is something that's important to use. If employers tell you to use the Group Me app, it's important because essentially what these two are doing is talking about work, and they talked on Sunday. They're talking about work when they are not working. Now, at some point, I don't know if they're salaried or if they're hourly, but let's say that Roberts comes along and says, "Hey, I had to work on a Sunday because Watts, who's my supervisor, called me and told me this. So I worked on Sunday, 20 minutes of this, and I wasn't paid," and could turn him into the labor department. That's where Group Me was supposed to be this thing for employers, so that then you could turn that in addition to your time card and say, from this time to this time you worked on Sunday or whatever, per Group Me documentation. So I'm not saying that they're using Group Me, but that's just a little tidbit of what I'm seeing here and thought that I should interject. So here we are at Discovery page 443. And It says Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Watts at 7:10 says, okay, copy. Robert says 0749, I'm here at the 1029 now. You mind coming out here just in case something gets sideways? Now they're, now that they're on the job site and they're there, that's fine and they can communicate. But I was referring to the group me for times when they're not. And then, so here we are. Watts at 7:43 says, yeah, I'm at 3:19. One sec. Robert says, it's 073 hours. 10:04, how's it look? 7:45, Watts says, fresh, LOL. Roberts says at 0751, he says, is it a lot? And Watts says at 7:53 hours, 07:53 hours. Watts says, photo of pipes into the ground with apparent leak. Roberts at 7:55 says, want me to bring some Gator? We can try and pressure test the line to see too if you want. And Watts at 800 hours says, so at 8 o'clock in the morning, says, I got it handled, thanks though. And Roberts says 10:04. Additional from Roberts. Roberts did not know that Survey 629 needed whip checks. So, okay. This is in bullet form. And this is just saying this is additional from Roberts, okay? So I'm going to read this as it is. So it says, Roberts did not know that Survey 629 needed whip checks. Roberts provided that no one really likes going out there to Survey as it is so far. If Watts would not have gone to Survey Monday morning, he would have gone to the office. Roberts did not know the last time Watts may have been out to Survey Ranch. Roberts estimated that Watts spends 95% of his time in the field and 5% in the office. He would spend 1 to 2 hours in the Platteville office in the mornings. Watts was previously a rover and is now a lead and works all over the place. Chad McNeil and Melissa Parrish were at 10:29. Watts was at 6:29. When Watts was there at 0630 hours, like he told Roberts, no one but Watts would have been there. Troy McCoy, Chad McNeil, and Melissa Parrish would have been the first ones to see Watts on 8/13/2018. Unknown exact order they all arrived. All of the named employees were in separate vehicles. This is still from Agent Stacy Galbraith, and now this is showing the 17th of August in 2018, and it's Discovery page 444, and it's on page 391 of 1960. And it goes here again, and it says, Colorado Bureau of Investigation. Roberts believed that Watts absolutely loved his family, and Watts' girls were his world. Watts would receive calls from Shanann Watts, and he would step out to take her calls. There were no indications to Roberts that Watts and his wife were having problems. There was no indication to Roberts that Watts was seeing anyone on the side. Watts would talk about family vacations, his kids, and mentioned Shanann's new car. Watts did not talk about his finances. Roberts is an operator and has a set route to maintain 24 wells. Watts is a lead/field coordinator, which is right under a foreman. A lead can act as a foreman in the foreman's absence. Roberts thought there were some weird things, but commented that he knows Colorado has a high sex trafficking rate, and that... What? Okay. I'm going to repeat that because I don't get why that it was said. Okay, so it says, Roberts thought there were some weird things, but commented he knows Colorado has a high sex trafficking rate. Now, the words high sex trafficking rate are highlighted in this document, and I have no idea why that is in here. It I guess it's just one of those things he wanted to say. So it continues. So it says he knows that Colorado has a high sex trafficking rate and that the travel time for Watts from 0530 to 0630 hours to get Survey would be right. The trucks have GPS, which monitors speed, braking, and cell phone use while driving, Bluetooth. Roberts was told that Anadarko pulled the GPS data from Watts' truck. Roberts said he texted Watts on 8/14/2018 to let him know that his thoughts and prayers were with Watts, and Watts did not reply. Roberts said Watts keeps to himself and has no family here. Watts never came off as sketchy to Roberts. Watts was not nervous at the sites on Monday, in Roberts' opinion. And Watts does not have any friends outside of work that Robert knows. Anadarko employees that work with or have worked with Watts are as follows: Chad McNeil, Troy McCoy, Melissa Parrish, Luke Eppel, Anthony Brown, Tim Schuster, Tony Kern, Robert Mary. Interview concluded at 16:30 hours, and the highlights of the interview provided to investigator group following interview. What in the world was that in there about the sex trafficking? Okay, so now we're at Discovery page 445. And it says the attachments are the photos of cell phone texting messaging between Roberts and Watts and the audio of the interview with Roberts. Oh shit, sorry. Let's see, pop that back up. I fat fingered that. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So this is 17th of August. Okay, so now we're in an investigative supplement, and we're in an interview with David Cullen. What a last name. And it says the occurrence from 8:15 at 13:15 to occurrence from 8/15/2018. So they're saying this went from 1:15 to 1:45 in the afternoon of 8/15, and it's an interview with David Cullen, maybe Colon, and the reporting LEO is John Kellen Hassenstab, and the backup law enforcement is Stacy Galbraith. And it's approved, and it was approved on 8/20 by Kirby Quinn Lewis. And it says the synopsis. On August 15th, 2018, I, CBI agent Kellen Hassenstab, began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing person investigation. I was assigned to interview David Cullen, an associate of Chris Watts, and did so at approximately 1:15 on the same date. And it says occurred number 1 at 3200 Airport Road. And it says the primary information is at 3200 Airport Road, Boulder, Colorado, 80301 in the United States. And it says the primary information for subject number 1 is the association of suspect number 1, David Cullen. And it says here he is a person, just like the last one, a person. Can you believe that? Do you think they need to specify that? I mean, what other things are they interviewing? I'm not going to find that they freaking actually interviewed here, and we're going to find Dieter, and it's going to say that Dieter's a dog. But why are they specifying that he's a freaking person? And he's a 51-year-old white male. And, as stated, he is not a juvenile. I mean, some of these questions here, pretty redundant. A person? After they say the age, juvenile? No. Employed? Yes. Occupation? Maintenance. Alrighty. So it says narrative begins on the following page. All right, and we are at 394 on 1960, and we're at discovery page 448. This looks like it is one of 3 pages. Goes like this, because it has, I'm not understanding why it has that. It says Colorado Bureau of Investigation. It says 2018 TAC 173/2. So I'm not really sure what that is. We have the synopsis, and it says, on August 15th, 2018, CBI agent Kellen Hassenstab began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing person investigation. I was assigned to interview David Colon, an associate of Chris Watts, and did so at approximately 1:15 on the same date, 1:15 p.m. The action taken. CBI agent Stacy Galbraith and I went to the Boulder City Jail on 3200 Airport Road, Boulder, where Colon is employed, to conduct a voluntary interview with him regarding the Shanann Watts missing person investigation. At approximately 1:15 p.m., Agent Galbraith and I made contact with Colon inside the jail. An office was obtained to utilize as an interview room. The contact and interview with Colon was audio recorded, and the audio recording is entered as an attachment to this report. The following is a non-chronological synopsis of the interview, which utilizes paraphrasing. Colon stated that he has known Chris and Shanann Watts for approximately 7 years, starting when they moved from North Carolina to Colorado. He said they both worked at Longmont Ford, and he was doing vehicle reconditioning as his own business at Longmont Ford at the same time. Colon has maintained a friendship with Chris and Shanann Watts and lives in the same subdivision. Colon advised he went to see Chris Watts at the Watts' home on Monday, August 13th, 2018, after Shanann Watts was declared missing. I asked him about the background to that situation, and Colon said he received a text message from Jeremy Lindstrom asking him, Colon, what was going on with Chris and Shanann Watts. Colon said he found out from Lindstrom that Shanann Watts was missing. As they continued to send text messages back and forth, Colon said he sent a text message to Chris Watts about the situation but didn't hear anything back. So he called Chris Watts to find out what was going on. In conversing with Chris Watts, Colon said he was told Chris Watts went to work and Shanann Watts was missing after that. According to Colon, Chris Watts told him Shanann Watts left her personal items, including keys, at the residence. Colon said the phone conversation occurred at approximately 9 p.m. Colon then walked over to the Watts residence to speak further with Chris Watts. He thought he arrived at approximately 9:30 p.m. Colon said Chris Watts was the only person present and that Chris Watts was keeping himself busy doing housework. I later asked Colin what he meant by housework, and he said that the carpet looked freshly vacuumed. Colin said Chris Watts was also making a protein shake. Colin said Jeremy Lindstrom arrived approximately 30 minutes later. I asked Colin what statements he remembered Chris Watts making. Colin said Chris Watts said he and Shanann Watts were separated and she went to North Carolina for 5 weeks. Chris Watts told Colin the marriage was struggling. And here we have of another person saying that they are separated. Every page 449. Colin said he did not know the specifics of the difficulties in the marriage, but knew they had argued that morning, Monday, August 13th of 2018. Colin had no further details about the argument. Colin said Chris Watts was worried that one of the missing children did not have the necessary medication. I asked Colin what Chris Watts thought happened and communicated to him. Colin said Chris Watts told him he thought Shanann Watts left the house voluntarily with the kids and was hiding out somewhere. Colin said he thought Chris Watts wanted his kids back and wondered where they were at. Colin described Chris Watts as emotionally blank about the whole situation, and Colin said the possibility of foul play was discussed, but not brought up by Chris Watts. Colin said he left after Chris Watts said he needed to lay down, and he and Lindstrom left at that time. After leaving the house, Colin said he has remained in contact with Chris Watts, but hasn't heard anything significant about the situation. I asked Colin for his overall impression of Shanann Watts. He described her as overbearing, but said she's overall a good mother and a person. Colin said he unfriended Shanann Watts on Facebook due to her constant posting. Colin said Chris Watts was the opposite, preferring to go with the flow and let Shanann Watts make decisions in their relationship. Colin was not aware of any financial difficulties in the Watts household. Colin said it was his impression that Shanann Watts left on her own regarding her missing person status. Colin said he was not aware of any infidelity in the relationship. Agent Galbraith asked Colin about Chris Watts' Facebook. Colin said he talked to Chris Watts about it and found out that Shanann Watts was writing the posts on Chris Watts' page. Colin said Chris Watts isn't on Facebook anymore and hasn't asked him why. Prior to Monday, Colin said that he thought it had been approximately 4 months since he saw Chris Watts. He said it had been approximately a year since he spoke with Shanann Watts. Colin had no knowledge of the Watts family trying to sell their home. Nothing further. Attachments 1 interview with David Colin. M4A. And then this is a page 2, Discovery page 450. Investigative supplement, and here we go with the interview with Christina Meacham, and it's done with John Kellen Hassenstab, approved by Kirby Gwynn Lewis on 8/20, and it was done on 8/15. And you know what? Just like we said before, Christina Meacham is a person. She's also not a juvenile. She's 38 years old. And it says on the synopsis that on August 15, 2018, CBA agent Kellen Hassenstab began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing person investigation. I was assigned to call Christina Meacham, an associate of Shanann Watts. Narrative begins on the following page. It says, Discovery, page 452. Okay. Now it says the synopsis is on August 15, 2018, CBI agent Kellen Hassenstab began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing persons investigation. I was assigned to call Christina Meacham, an associate of missing person Shanann Watts. I reached Meacham via telephone 808 at approximately 10:30 a.m. She agreed to speak with me regarding Shanann Watts. I spoke with Meacham via my work cell phone, and the conversation was not recorded. Meacham told me that she has known Shanann Watts for approximately 14 years, and they used to work together in North Carolina previously. Work together in North Carolina. Where did they work together in North Carolina, guys? Put it in the comments. Where did they work together? Did Christina work at the Dirty South? Did she work at Amway with Shanann and her dad? Where did she work with Shanann in North Carolina? I've wondered this before. I've heard it before, but here we go. Meacham told me that she's known Shanann Watts for approximately 14 years, and they used to work together in North Carolina previously. Meacham said she flew out to Colorado in August of 2017 and stayed with Shanann Watts in the Watts' home for 2 months while Shanann Watts was recovering from surgery. I can't believe anybody would. This is me off the side. Whenever I hear of her, I just feel like she's the nicest person. Who would do that and stay with somebody for 2 months? And who would make their friend do that for 2 months? You know, it's like even me, like my husband took off 2 weeks because I'm the one-armed woman. And I told him a couple days ago he could go back to work because it's not like I can't do most things now, you know, after it's been a week. I mean, I can't do everything, but I mean, if I had to be doing things like taking care of the kids and stuff as the one-armed woman, I would do it rather than having somebody help me. I had a hysterectomy and other reparative surgeries in my pelvis and everything, and my husband was at sea because he was in the Navy. I never had anybody come and help me in the house. I'm just shocked that anybody would have a friend do this for them. I mean, she seems like the most gracious person to come and do this, and I'm just always shocked when I hear how much she did for Shanann. I don't know. But yeah, this 14 years really has me interested. So I know you guys are really smart in there. In the comments, will you guys tell me where she worked with Shanann 14 years prior to 2018? So in 2004, where was Shanann working? I mean, I think she was working at the Dirty South. So is Christina Meacham from North Carolina then? Or is this regarding Amway? Because Shanann worked Amway with her dad. Huh. All right, I'll get back to this. Back to the script. I'll shut up. Okay. Meacham told me she'd known Shanann Watts for approximately 14 years. They used to work together in North Carolina previously. Meacham said she flew out to Colorado in August 2017 and stayed with Shanann Watts in the Watts home for 2 months while Shanann Watts was recovering from a surgery. Oh shit, I fat thumbed this again. Sorry. Let me see here. A one-armed woman. Alright. The last time Meacham saw Shanann Watts in person was June of 2018 in San Diego. They last spoke on the phone on Friday, August 10th of 2018. During our phone conversation, Meacham referenced numerous text messages Shanann Watts sent her regarding her marriage to Christopher Watts. Oh no, it's gonna be the same thing, like he didn't grab her ass and everything, isn't it? No. 15 years. And let me see what else I wanted to write down here. Because, okay. Rachel. Okay, I'm reading this and I'm just shocked at what I'm gonna say because I'm seeing this. I'm like, am I reading this right? Um. Okay, wait till you hear this because here I'm gonna say it, and it's just shocking. So during our phone conversation, Meacham referenced numerous text messages Shanann Watts sent her regarding her marriage to Chris Watts. On August 16th of 2018, I received digital image files via email from Meacham, which contained screenshots of the messages. As a result, 89 image files of text messages are attached to this report. 89 images. And I mean, think of how many go in an image. And how many other people she talked to in any given day. Oh my God, this woman was honestly on her phone all the time. Message string appears to start when Shanann Watts is on vacation in North Carolina and ends with a message sent from Meacham to Shanann Watts on the day she disappeared. Please review those text message images for full details of the information Shanann Watts provided to Meacham. Shanann Watts told her during Sorry, fat thumbed it again. What are you doing, boo? You looking? Meacham told me that Shanann Watts told her during Shanann Watts' recent trip to North Carolina, Chris Watts came to visit her and there were problems. Meacham advised Shanann Watts said Chris Watts would not hug or kiss her, appeared to be only focused on food, and it was a rough time overall. Prior to this, Meacham perceived that the marriage between Shanann and Chris Watts was very good and described it as a model relationship. Regarding the marriage and relationship, Meacham perceived that Shanann Watts was in charge of the house as she was very organized and he would do whatever she told him to do. Meacham described Shanann Watts as OCD in the way the household operated. In recent leaks, Meacham described Shanann Watts as being increasingly frustrated with Chris Watts' behavior and their marriage. Shanann Watts told Meacham that Chris Watts left to sleep on a couch during an argument and that they were also arguing about who wanted the new baby. Shanann Watts was pregnant, was in capitals. Shanann Watts told Meacham that Chris Watts would not fight back during arguments and was distant. Shanann Watts said Chris Watts was being an, in quotes, asshole and refused to have sexual relations with her after she returned from North Carolina. Oh my God. Why does everybody have to know this? Why did she tell everybody these things? God. Discovery page 453. And we're still in the CBI, and it says, according to Meacham, Shanann Watts described that she doesn't know Chris Watts anymore and was scared about how Chris Watts was going to respond to the new baby in the household. Additionally, Chris Watts told Shanann Watts that they were no longer compatible, according to what Meacham was told. Meacham described her perception that the Watts family had financial problems. Meacham said the Watts were living above their means and said Shanann Watts was concerned about the expense of buying food during the recent period that Meacham lived with them. Well, maybe she shouldn't have been buying so much MLM crap, huh? She couldn't afford food. I'm sure that Christina bought food for them because she seems like the nicest person in the world. Meacham detailed the events of August 13, 2018. She was called by Nikki, a mutual friend of Shanann Watts and her. She was on the phone with Nikki during the time Nikki went to the Watts home to try to locate Shanann Watts before calling Chris Watts at work. Meacham told me she believed Chris Watts' reported behaviors on August 13, 2018 are inconsistent with his past behavior. Okay, this is really interesting. Is this a typo? Because what? Oh, I see. I see why they're saying that. Okay. She says, Meacham told me she believed Chris Watts' reported behaviors on August 13, 2018 are inconsistent with his past behavior. In particular, Meacham said Chris Watts never backed his work truck to the garage during the 2 months she lived there. She said he always parked to the left of the front door and always left the house out of the front door. Meacham told me that Shanann Watts wouldn't have left the house without medication and sandals and would not have missed the first day of kindergarten for the kids. Meacham believed that the missing person report regarding Shanann Watts was 100% out of character and said Shanann Watts has plenty of friends and places to go. Meacham also had knowledge Shanann Watts was planning a weekend trip to Aspen with Chris Watts for the weekend after she went missing, August 18th through the 19th. Furthermore, according to Meacham, Chris Watts had agreed to go to marriage counseling with Shanann Watts. Nothing further. There are attachments of 89 image files of text messages. Now, Christina Meacham, have you guys looked her up recently? She got into female bodybuilding. So, not that, I mean, it is my opinion that she channeled her grief into working out because she was a very good friend to Shanann. Okay. What are you doing? You're what? You're going to your room? Well, don't wake up Dad. Okay, love you. Um, I mean, she got into that kind of female bodybuilding where, the women look really, really gristly. And like I say, I just think that it was kind of her way to pour her emotions into something. Um, I don't think that Christina Meacham could see bad in Shanann. I think she's one of those people who just is a naturally happy person and wants the best for everybody. Um, It could really be argued that she lived in that house for 2 months. And what did she see? And if she didn't see this and she didn't see that, well, she lived there for 2 months. Problem is that, in my opinion, SW was a very accomplished liar and manipulator. And I think that there were so many different people coming and going from that house, and those people coming and going from that house are not talking about what happened in that house. Um, I don't know that she kept up the routine of locking the girls up as she brags about um, to Christina, because I don't think that Christina would have allowed that. I think she would have lovingly said, "Oh no, let's not do that to the girls, whatever." I don't know. But Discovery page 454 is another investigative report, and it's the interview with Cindy DeRissey. And it's on 8/15, and it's from 11:35 to 12, and it's Agent John Kellen Hassenstab. And I need to pause for just a second to do something really quick. I'll be right back. Come with me, boo. Guys, grab a quick intermission. What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Kisses. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I needed some Tylenol. I'll show you here. Okay. Thank you for waiting. Oh. So we're in the interview of Cindy DeRosa, and guess what? She's also a person, and she is 48. Well, she was in 2018. And Cindy DeRosa, her interview is on page 400 of 1960, if you're following along that way, and Discovery page 456. And the synopsis goes here that on August 15, 2018, I, CBI agent Kellen Hassenstab, began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing person investigation. I was assigned to call Cindy DeRosa, an associate of Shanann Watts. Action taken. Prior to the phone call, I was advised DeRosa was in contact with Shanann Watts over the weekend at a work conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. I called DeRosa via redacted on my work cell phone. The phone conversation was not recorded. I reached DeRosa at approximately 11:35 a.m. and she agreed to speak with me regarding Shanann Watts. DeRosa said Shanann Watts arrived in the morning of Friday, August 10th, 2018, and that the work conference for Thrive Lavelle occurred at Embassy Suites Hotel in Scottsdale, Arizona. DeRosa's primary contact with Shanann Watts occurred Sunday evening, August 12, 2018, when they went to dinner at approximately 5 p.m. prior to dropping Shanann Watts and Watts' friend Nikki off at the airport to fly home to Denver. During the dinner on Sunday evening, DeRosa and Shanann Watts confided in her that she and Chris Watts were having marital difficulties. DeRosa recalled that Shanann Watts told her that after Shanann Watts returned home from a vacation to North Carolina, Chris Watts was distant. During the vacation, DeRosa said Shanann Watts said Chris Watts was not returning her phone calls. Shanann Watts told DeRosa that she asked Chris Watts if he still loved her, and he didn't answer. Shanann Watts also said Chris Watts doesn't touch her anymore. Generally, Shanann Watts described Chris Watts as non-confrontational and having his head in the sand, especially when it came to the kids. Shanann Watts told DeRosa that Chris Watts told her it'd be nice if he could hang a picture on the wall at home without her permission. Also, DeRosa said Shanann Watts confided in her that they were no longer compatible in their marriage. DeRosa said Shanann Watts also told her that she was planning a getaway weekend for August 18th through 19th, as well as potential counseling with Chris Watts. DeRosa said Shanann Watts was concerned about losing her husband. While at dinner, Shanann Watts found out Chris Watts had spent approximately $60 at a dinner when he was supposed to go to a Rockies game. DeRosa said they were trying to figure out what he bought for that amount because the website for that restaurant showed a burger and a beer should have cost $15. That's a deal, and that's a deal even in 2018. Discovery page 457. Regarding Shanann Watts potentially being a missing person, DeRosa said Shanann Watts was a helicopter mom and would have never left without medication, of course not missed a doctor's appointment, and would have had the kids show up to school. DeRousseau said she had not met Chris Watts in person. Over the course of the weekend they were together, DeRousseau said she observed Shanann Watts looking tired and wasn't eating. DeRousseau said she had to remind Shanann Watts to eat. DeRousseau also told me she was aware Shanann Watts canceled a gender reveal party due to the conflict with Chris Watts. Nothing further. And then no attachments for that one. And then we're at Discovery page 458, and we're in the interview of Jeremy and Jennifer Lindstrom with Agent Matthew Saylor, and it was approved on 8/20 by Kirby Quinn Lewis. Just went through and approved a bunch of these things on 8/20. And the synopsis is an interview of Jeremy and Jennifer Lindstrom at their residence in Erie, Colorado, 80516. And the primary witness, Jennifer Lindstrom, is, ready guys, a person. 37-year-old, white, female, and not a juvenile. Jeremy Lindstrom is also a person, 40-year-old, white, male, not a juvenile. So as we go over here, we see here, and it says that the action taken on 8/14. On 8/14/18, at approximately 17:34 hours, Colorado Bureau of Investigation CBI agent Matthew Saylor responded to 265 Sunbeam Court in Erie, Colorado, to interview Jeremy Lindstrom and Jennifer Lindstrom. The interview was conducted in the dining room area of their residence and was audio recorded. A copy of the recording is attached to this report. During the same time, CBI agent Kevin Kobach interviewed their daughter, McKenna Lindstrom, in another room. The following is a synopsis of the interview. For additional details, refer to the audio recording. Jeremy said that he worked with both Chris Watts and Shanann Watts at Longmont Ford. He said they moved up here. He said they moved to Colorado from North Carolina for Chris to work there, and Shanann later also got a job there. Neither Chris nor Shanann have worked at Longmont Ford for a couple of years. Chris and Shanann came to Colorado from North Carolina approximately 6 or 7 years ago. The Lindstroms described their relationship with the Watts as best friends that you only see a few times a year, but it's as if you see each other all the time. Jeremy said that they see the Watts for birthday parties, both families, barbecues, and holidays. Chris and the girls, Bella Watts and Celeste Watts, were at the Lindstroms' residence Sunday the 12th for their son Caden's birthday party. Chris was described as acting normal at the birthday party. So, off to the side here, this is when other people can say that they saw the girls alive on Sunday the 12th. That would be accurate. And then Nicole dropped off Shanann after midnight that night. So Shanann would have been last seen by Nikki. The girls would have been last seen by the Lindstroms. If they went by who did not see them other than Christopher Watts. Chris was described as acting normal at the birthday party, that he is a quiet person and doesn't show emotion much. The Lindstroms said that he was watching after the girls. They said that there were 5 or 6 adults and 5 or 6 kids at the party. Prior to the birthday party on Sunday, Jeremy last spoke with Chris on Friday the 10th. Chris texted Jeremy asking if McKenna could babysit on Saturday so that he could go to the Rockies baseball game because he had won tickets at work. On Saturday, Jeremy texted Chris telling him that he had Broncos tickets and asked Chris if he wanted to go to that game instead. Chris declined, saying his work would be angry if he didn't use the Rockies tickets. Jeremy didn't know who Chris went to the Rockies game with. McKenna babysat for Chris on Saturday while Chris was at the Rockies game. Jennifer said that she dropped her off at 16:25 hours and then left the house to pick her up around 22 hours, as Chris said he'd be home around then. Jennifer arrived about 10 minutes later, and Chris was not home yet. She waited in the car with her sleeping son, and around 22:30 hours, so 10:30, Chris arrived home. She said Chris pulled into the garage, and she doesn't believe he knew she was in the car. Jennifer said Chris was driving the white Lexus SUV. Jennifer said that when McKenna left, she came out the front door and the dog followed her out. Jennifer said that the Watts have a very regimented schedule and that their bedtime is 1900 hours. That's 7 o'clock. McKenna told her that Chris had ordered pizza for the girls, and after they ate and played for a bit, it was time for the girls to get ready for bed. McKenna said that Celeste went to sleep, but Bella came downstairs and said she couldn't sleep. McKenna had Bella sit with her for a bit, and then she took her upstairs and Bella went to bed. McKenna said that the girls were very easy to watch. Jeremy and Jennifer did not know why Bella was unable to sleep, nor if that is normal for her. Jennifer said that the dog that ran out when McKenna left is a dachshund named Dieter. The Watts have no other pets. Jeremy and Jennifer said they spoke with Chris at the birthday party on Sunday and that they seemed normal. Chris was telling them that he and Shanann knew the gender of their baby and that the gender reveal party was scheduled for this week. They asked Chris if he needed a crib, and he said he did not. Towards the end of the party, Celeste fell on a swing set in the backyard, and Chris comforted her, and Celeste said she wanted her blanket. Jeremy and Jennifer said that Chris has always been good with the girls, and they described him as the mellow guy. Jennifer said that Shanann told them they weren't planning on having another child, but Chris wanted to, and she agreed to do it because of how much of a hands-on dad he is, and that he would always be there to help her. Shanann told her this on Father's Day and seemed excited about it. Jennifer said in her previous pregnancies, Shanann had been ill, but this time she was feeling good. When asked about Shanann's When asked about Shanann's medical conditions, Jennifer said that Shanann has lupus, fibromyalgia, migraines, and body pains. Before Bella was born, she was told by a doctor that she probably wouldn't be able to have children. Jeremy said that Shanann was always kind of strange to him with all of her health problems. He said that she pronounced her name Shanann, but her mom pronounced it Shannon. Jeremy said he felt Shanann was kind of rebellious. Jeremy said that Shanann is very meticulous with everything, and everything in her house is organized and labeled. Jeremy said that she was very particular and kind of controlling over Chris. He described a time when he was taking Chris to the airport and Chris couldn't leave until he finished cleaning the basement. What in the world? Could you imagine, guys? Could you imagine that the guy is here to get your husband to take to the airport, and he can't get out to the car to you because he has to finish cleaning the basement? I mean, what the fuck? You can't go anywhere until you're finished cleaning the basement. That teacher, not a husband. God, this woman. Oh my God. I wonder when they were looking through the house and the person just bought it, I wonder if they found the glass jar that Christopher Watts' balls are in, apparently. Oh my God. Jeremy and Jennifer both said that Shanann had found the right person for her and that she was a type A personality and Chris was a type B. Or bitch boy, it seems. Jeremy said that when Chris and Shanann worked at the Ford dealership, the dealership would hand both of their paychecks to Shanann because she handled the finances. Oh my God. Can you believe that? That even the people at the dealership knew that Chris wasn't allowed to have his own check. They were both handed to her. My God. I'm going to read that again. Oh my God. Jeremy said that when Chris and Shanann worked at the Ford dealership, the dealership would hand both of their paychecks to Shanann because she handled the finances. Oh my God. Isn't that illegal? Like, don't you have to give the check to the person who earned it? Oh my God. Jennifer said that Bella and Celeste have a regimented schedule and a consistent routine that they follow at bedtime. Jeremy and Jennifer said that Shanann is very consistent and has been doing very well with her Thrive business because she is consistent and follows through. Jeremy said that prior to Shanann starting with Thrive, she and Chris struggled some financially. Jeremy and Jennifer said that Shanann was doing well with Thrive and the company paid their car payments. And Shanann won several trips. Bullshit. They said that she was somewhat frugal and cut coupons and at one point had a part-time job at Children's Place so she could get a discount. I actually knew a lot of people who did do that, who worked at Gymboree or Children's Place so that they could get the discount and have their kids dress cute. I just lurked around the clearance and got my kids their Gymboree outfits that now that they're teenagers, they're very mad that I dressed them in those kind of clothes. But they were cute. Wonder how long she worked at Children's Place. Jennifer said that Shanann and Chris were planning on going to Aspen this weekend and asked McKenna to watch the girls from 1630 hours to 1900 hours on Friday because the person watching the girls over the weekend wasn't available until 1900 hours. So that's 4:30 to 7 Friday. Jeremy and Jennifer said that Shanann was previously in North Carolina for about 5 weeks without Chris just prior to her trip to Arizona. Jennifer said she believed Chris went to North Carolina for the last week of Shanann's visit there. Discovery page 461. Jeremy said that previously Shanann's mother lived with them for an extended period of time, and a female from Hawaii also lived with them for an extended period of time last summer when Shanann had neck surgery and couldn't lift the girls. We know who that was. Jeremy said that Shanann is a person of habit and follows the same schedule every day, so it was strange to him that the girls didn't show up for the first day of school on Monday, 8/13/18. Jennifer said that Shanann is an avid Facebook poster, to the point that some people feel it's overkill. Jennifer said that Shanann will make numerous posts per day, including promoting her Thrive business. Jennifer said that Shanann likes to share everything, and it was very unusual when she had not posted anything on Facebook. Jeremy and Jennifer said it would be very out of character for Shanann to disappear, especially without her phone, purse, and car seats. Jennifer said that Shanann always has her phone with her and is the kind of person that if you text her, she'll text right back. Oh shit, she sure isn't me because, let me tell ya. Jeremy said that he saw Shanann's mom in North Carolina posted on Facebook that Shanann was missing, and he read it several times because he couldn't believe it. Jeremy said that he called Dave Colin, a friend who lives in Chris and Shanann's neighborhood, to go over and check on Chris. Colin called Jeremy back and said that Shanann was indeed missing, and Jeremy immediately went over to Chris's house. Jeremy said this was around 20-30 hours, and it would be very unusual for the girls not to be in bed at that time. Because that's 8:30. I just finished up my strawberry kiwi flavored Gatorade. It's really good. Okay. Jeremy said he asked Chris if the girls' medications were gone, and Chris told him that Shanann could have taken spare medications from the basement, which is, side note here, that's true because she had a whole closet full. And I mean, God forbid this woman take care of her kids and didn't have the tools with her. She had to have car seats to restrain them in, medication to put them to sleep in, and the telephone for her to post nonstop. My God, this woman. Anyway, Jennifer said that Celeste is highly allergic to some things. Jeremy said he offered to stay all night with Chris, and Jeremy said Chris's demeanor was just a blank stare. Jeremy said that Chris told him that he just wanted to finish cleaning and go to bed. Jeremy said he didn't know if this was normal because everyone reacts different, and maybe he was cleaning because he was stressed or nervous. And Jeremy said Chris does clean a lot and do a lot around the house. I asked Jeremy if Chris seemed concerned, and he said yes, but more shocked, like he didn't know what to do. Jeremy said he asked Chris a ton of questions trying to figure things out. And Jeremy said Chris never said anything about he and Shanann having a fight or anything like that. Jeremy said that Chris was on the phone with his mom and said that his mom told them that everyone was making it look like he did something on Facebook. And Chris never gave Jeremy his theory of what happened to Shanann and the girls. Jeremy said he asked Chris if they should go look in the park or go drive around looking for Shanann and the girls, and Chris said no. The police told him to stay home because he wouldn't know where to look or what to look for. Jeremy and Jennifer said it was strange to see the girls on the news and believed they were the last people to see them as they left from their house after the party on Sunday. I too believe that. Jennifer said that neither Chris nor Shanann have family in Colorado. They didn't know where Shanann would go if she just left to get away for a while. Jeremy said that if Shanann is cheating on Chris, or if he is cheating on her, they aren't telling anyone and nobody knows about it. Jeremy said that they don't strike you as the type of people who would cheat on their spouse, and Jennifer described them as cookie cutter. They both said that Chris and Shanann had the perfect life. Oh. Jeremy said that Colin used to own a body shop in Longmont and fixed a lot of Longmont Ford's used cars. He said that Colin lives in Chris's neighborhood, but he doesn't know the address. Jeremy provided a phone number for Colin. That's redacted. Jeremy said that him and Colin were at Chris's house for 15 to 20 minutes, and no one else was there at that time. Jeremy said that Chris told him all he can do is wait and hope the police find Shanann and the girls. Jeremy said that nothing in the house looked out of place and that the residence is always neat and clean. When asked about other friends of Chris and Shanann, Jeremy and Jennifer said they didn't know of any. Jeremy said they used to know a couple that Chris and Shanann were friends with, but that couple hasn't been around in years. Jeremy said he believes Chris works a lot, and Jennifer said she believes Chris and Shanann hang out with people that they only know through Thrive. Jeremy said that Shanann works 24 hours a day on Thrive, and they only see the Watts 4 or 5 times a year. Jeremy said Shanann posts so much on Facebook that you feel like you are around her. Jeremy said that Chris was on social media only occasionally, sometimes posting something on Facebook about Thrive. Jeremy said that Chris has lost a lot of weight, and Shanann frequently posted about him being in shape, including pictures such as Chris doing push-ups with one of the girls on his back. Jeremy said that both Chris and Shanann have lost weight over the last couple of years, and that they both contributed to Thrive. Side note here, I normally wouldn't say the Thrive word, but because these are actual documents in the discovery and they are part of the record of the FBI and pertinent to this, I am saying it because I am reading what is recorded. Otherwise, I would not. Just so you guys know that. And let me see this. I gotta take a drink a Pepsi. Kids like the Pepsi no sugar or zero sugar. I like the regular stuff. Okay. Jennifer said they don't really know of any of Chris and Shanann's other friends. Jennifer said that they saw someone on the news who described herself as Shanann's best friend, but they didn't know her. Jeremy said that he didn't know if Colin had stopped by Chris's house or talked to him in years. Jeremy said he learned that Shanann and the girls were missing when he saw her mom's post on Facebook saying she is missing. Jeremy said he didn't understand why Chris didn't text him asking if he'd seen Shanann or the girls. Jeremy said that Shanann didn't come to the birthday party because she was in Arizona for a Thrive convention, which she told them about when she was over on Father's Day. Jennifer said it was normal for Shanann to be out of town for her Thrive business and that Chris takes care of the girls when she is gone and takes them to birthday parties and other events. Jennifer said that when they arrived at the birthday party, Celeste and Bella had their hair in ponytails, which Chris must have done. Jennifer said it seems like Chris does a good job of taking on the mom role when Shanann is gone. When asked what they thought happened, Jeremy said he didn't know and you can't put anything past anyone. Jennifer said that she also didn't know and thought that if Shanann is stressed and pregnant, she might walk away. Jeremy said that he worries that Shanann doesn't have any of the issues she claims she does. When asked to explain this, he said that when a commercial would come on for television for a disease, Shanann would claim to have that condition. He said that Shanann told them that she would never be able to have kids, and now she's on her third one. He said he didn't think Shanann had all of the conditions she claimed to have. He said he wouldn't put it past her to just leave. Jeremy said he didn't think Chris would ever harm a fly and wondered if Shanann's OCD and honey-do lists had gotten to Chris. Jeremy said he doubted it and that Chris's personality didn't convey something like that. Jeremy said there's no way Chris would ever touch his girls. Dang it, I'm sorry, guys. Discovery, page 463. CBI continued. Jeremy said that Chris told him that Chris and Shanann did not know the gender of the baby, that another friend had it in an envelope and was going to do a gender reveal party. Jeremy said the conversations at the birthday party were normal and that there were plans made for the future, such as the trip to Aspen. Okay, I'm going to side note for a second. This is Tabitha Jane speaking. This is an interesting sentence because where it says that the friend knew because the friend had it in an envelope for the gender reveal party. Well, the gender reveal party is canceled. And we don't see anything yet confirming that there was an ultrasound. We did see that there is a person who owns a private ultrasound place that has called in, and I've not yet seen what they said. But as I proved by the measurements of the fetus, she was 11 weeks pregnant, and that's very difficult to find the gender in an 11-week fetus. She was lying about the due date because she was lying because she knew that Christopher Watts and her had not had sex, and she was trying everything to get him to have sex, and he wasn't. So this is interesting because this is the source of many rumors. And this is hearsay again because it says Jeremy said that Chris told him that Chris and Shanann did not know the gender of the baby. That another friend had it in an envelope and was going to do a gender reveal party. Okay? So this is hearsay. There's nothing there that says that that's true. That's what they were told by somebody else. And that's where a lot of these things came out and grew legs on their own. Kind of like legless lizards that grew legs. But it's interesting to see that, okay, this is where this comes from and this is where this goes back to. And it's just crazy because if I were to go missing and 2 of my kids were missing with me, God forbid, there's nobody that the CBI or the FBI could interview that would know shit about me or the intimate details of my life or my marriage. I mean, she was a very immature person who acted like a teenager. And there's a lot about, what happened to her at an early age that stopped her from fully maturing because it's immature to have adult friends used as props in the game of telephone so you can complain about your marriage and you can complain about your life and complain about everything rather than just shutting up and doing your actual duties of the day. Like, why couldn't she just be present, be a mom, be a wife, get off the phone, just like Bella told her to? The amount of people coming and going and having to give all this support to her. Took a village to help Shanann through one day, it seems. And that would get on somebody's nerves. Jeremy said that Chris and Shanann were excited about having another baby, and that Shanann loves having kids and posts everything about them. Yeah, sadly, we've seen that she has no boundaries. He said that if they were having marital problems, they hid it well. Well, they didn't. Jeremy said that he thinks Shanann might walk away to disappear to get attention. I agree with that. Jeremy and Jennifer said they didn't have any further information. End of report. Then it says the attachments are the audio recording of interview of Jeremy and Jennifer Lindstrom. And then we have the next thing, and it says here, Discovery page 464, that it's a Colorado Bureau of Investigation investigative supplement, report date 8/20/2018, and it's a consent search of 2825 Saratoga Trail on morning of 8/15. And it was Matthew Saylor and approved by Kirby Quinn on the 8/22. And it says here that they had officers Dave Yoakum as the crime scene agent out of the CBI Denver. Dave Baumhover, see him all over this, the detective of the Frederick Police Department. You see Steve Walhe again of the Frederick Police Department. And you see Tori Smith of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You see the FBI. Now, this is 2 days in, and they have the CBI and the FBI in all of this. So they have an alphabet soup of law enforcement. And remember, Sandy, Shanann's mom, Sandra, was sitting there saying in that message to them that, you didn't call back, so I've informed the FBI. Like, do you think they didn't do that? Do you think they don't know how to do that? Page one of 3 in Discovery page 466. And this is the consent search of 2825. Saratoga Trail on the morning of 8/15/18. So it says action taken on 8/15/18 at approximately 0600 hours, so that's 6 a.m. to us civilians. I, Colorado Bureau of Investigation CBI agent Matthew Saylor, responded to 2825 Saratoga Lane in the town of Frederick, Weld County, Colorado, to conduct a search of the residence. Consent had been granted by the homeowner, Chris Watts, the previous evening during a videotaped interview. Additionally, Watts gave consent to any and all testing and collection of evidence that was deemed necessary, specifically the use of alternate light sources for the detection of the presence of blood evidence. Upon arrival, I met with CBI crime scene analyst Dave Yoakum with the Frederick Police Department, FPD, Detective Dave Baumhover, and FPD Steve Walhe. Detective Baumhover contacted Watts by phone to obtain the code for the lock on the front door, allowing us access to the residence. Upon entering the residence, we located a dachshund in a small kennel in the area near the garage pedestrian door and placed the animal outside in the enclosed backyard. Okay, side note. Again, why are they putting Dieter in a kennel? And during all this, I just think it's so sad. And I wish they would have paid attention when the Deeds called in through the 911 to say, hey, we want our dog back. I wonder if Dieter was locked in his kennel as much as the girls were locked in their rooms. If you guys are just kind of hopping on new to this case and whatnot, check out Neeks Peeks, Neekspeeks. She has a lot of great video of Shanann herself bragging about locking the girls up. And she was referring to the reasons why she was doing it to this book. And I reviewed that book and have done a video on it as well. So there was nothing, she was saying it was from Baby Wise that gave her this instruction on how to mother, and it wasn't. So check out Neeks Peeks and check out my other videos too, please, and make sure that you like and subscribe. I'm going to read a little bit more and then we'll get to a good place to stop. So, I hope that they put it out. I hope that they put Dieter out there to run around a little bit. Poor Dieter. CSA Yoakum took overall photographs of the residence, and we then began our search. I noted that the residence was very neat and orderly. The items in the kitchen cupboard were organized and labeled. The items in the basement were all organized and packaged, many in plastic totes. I noted that the clothing in the closets were neat and orderly, arranged by clothing type and color. The only exception was the office and its adjoining closet, which had clutter on the desk and items strewn on the floor. The office and the closet were in contrast to the remainder of the house. I noted that all of the beds had been made, as I was advised that on previous consent searches of the residence, the kids' beds were unmade, and the master bedroom bed was stripped of its bedding. Note to self over here. Okay, so if you locked up your children from 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. and from 12 to 3 before they went to daycare, your house too would be immaculate. Now, the girls started going to school, daycare. We think maybe as a way to get them socialized or something, maybe to the ongoing family matter with the court. We don't know exactly, but that's saying that the girls were never home long enough. For a stay-at-home mom to not have her kids home, yeah, you'd have an immaculate house. She didn't even let them play in the playroom to let the playroom get messy. And the house was so big that it was easy to make it look nice and neat and bare. And she had hardly any food in the pantry, so of course your pantry's gonna look nice and you can label it nicely because there's hardly any food. What they're referring to in the basement is the MLM product. And she literally had over $20,000 in hoarded MLM stuff because she was buying her rent. She was buying these vacations. She was buying the car payment. It was all baloney. She was chasing dollars. And when it comes down to it, that her office was the messy place, it's funny because she ran around making sure that everybody else was doing everything to keep everything else immaculate. But where she actually spent her time was messy. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Huh. So, let's see. CSA Yoakum conducted Blue Star testing of the bathroom, stairs, entryway to the garage, and bedroom, and no presumptive blood was located. During the search, I was advised that Federal Bureau of Investigation FBI Special Agent Tori Smith was responding to the residence to assist in downloading the contents of the router in the residence. Special Agent Smith arrived and connected the router with his laptop. Special Agent Smith took screenshots documenting his connection to the router and the router settings. It should be noted that the router time was set to General Mountain Time, 8 o'clock, Pacific Time, US and Canada, Tijuana. So there's a 2-hour discrepancy with local time, Mountain Daylight Time, MDT or GMT UTC 2 o'clock. Special Agent Smith downloaded the router log and provided me with copies of all screenshots and the log, which are attached to this report. The router was collected as evidence. See Special Agent Smith's report for additional details. During the search of the residence, it was noticed that the trash cans throughout the residence, such as those in the bathrooms and bedrooms, had been emptied. The trash bags from those trash cans were located in the kitchen trash can. Underneath those trash bags, we located a bed sheet and 3 pillowcases. The bed sheet and 1 pillowcase had an unknown dark substance that appeared to be smeared on them. The bedsheet and pillowcases were photographed and collected as evidence. Wow. That's guilty behavior. I mean, why would you just throw away the bedsheet and the pillowcases? Especially knowing the way that he said it happened. I mean, that's the thing, is like, I just don't know. I mean, why would he do that and then, like, not dispose of those somewhere else? It's really weird. I mean, to find a bed sheet and 3 pillowcases in the garbage underneath other trash bags in the kitchen garbage, that right there is going to tell you something. And then whatever's on that pillowcase, that's something. That's about this smeared substance on the pillowcase. I don't want to say too much, but with the strangulation, doesn't it sound like that would be like blood from the mouth? I don't know. That's really disturbing. I mean, when you see that would just raise a whole lot of questions to me. And that was on 8/15, so that was that Wednesday, right? Look back here. Yeah, 8/15. So they got called on Monday, and this is Wednesday, and then they found those. So now we're on Discovery page 467, page 410 of 1960, if you're following along. So the Colorado Bureau of Investigation says, I located an Apple Watch on the nightstand of the master bedroom that was later determined to belong to Christopher Watts. I also located an Apple MacBook Pro on the desk in the office. Watts was again contacted by phone, and he gave consent to seize any electric devices that in the residence. These were collected as evidence. An Apple Watch determined to belong to Shanann Watts was located on a couch in the upstairs loft area underneath the throw pillows. This watch was collected as evidence. An Apple iPad was found in a backpack underneath the desk in the office, which was also collected as evidence. An Amazon Echo smart home device was located on the kitchen counter and was collected as evidence. In searching the garage, I located a cardboard shipping box from Amazon inside of the trash dumpster. Inside the box, I found a marriage improvement book that appeared to be brand new. I had earlier received information that Shanann Watts had sent a marriage improvement book to her husband, Chris Watts. The book was photographed and collected as evidence. Excuse me. We know that that book was no. He threw it right away. All items of evidence were photographed by CSA Yoakum and packaged and collected by Officer Walji. See their reports for additional information. Prior to exiting the residence, we let the dog back inside, but we were unable to secure him back in his kennel. We secured the residence and left. End of report. Go, Dieter. Good. So they did let Dieter run around, and Dieter said, fuck that kennel. And they were like, we agree. We're not putting you in the kennel. We're going to let you run around, Dieter. And Dieter was like, right on. I can tell you everything. You know? And then it says attachments 1 through 6, screenshots from FBI Special Agent Smith, and then 7, the router log. Let's see what we're going here to next. Let's stop here. I think this is a good place to stop. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I'm trying to keep these to like 2 hours. And this is a interview with Nicole. And, you know, that's going to be a lot of eye rolling. And I don't want to make your eyes tired from rolling too hard on this one. So what we will do is we will stop here. And this one is... definitely Watts Discovery Part 14. And we went from pages 369 to 411. And we went from Discovery page 420 to 468. And again, I hope you guys are safe and warm. Enjoy the little things this holiday season. And just, you know, if you're thinking of somebody that you haven't talked to for a while, look them up. Even if it's just a little Facebook message that says hi, or, you know, go get a cute graphic from somewhere on Google and send them a cute little graphic in a private message and say, hey, thinking about you. Or if they contributed to a memory around this time of year, you know, send them a message about that memory. I I had a terrible burp today. My husband was horrified. The cat was terrified. I was terrified. I wasn't sure that I was going to live through it. It was just a burp that went on and on and on and on and on. And I laughed so hard, and we were all laughing so hard. And Ma Kisses was just, like I say, she was mortified looking at me. And it reminded me of my friend, her birthday party. And we were in kindergarten. And her parents had one of those, you know, those hippie buses, those Volkswagen buses, you know, like a, you know, the little bus. You don't see those anymore. But they had one, and they took us to the local little carnival that was in in town to go on rides. And apparently, well, they took us to Xanadu first. We went to the movies, we saw Xanadu. And then I ate a bunch of Rolo caramels, and then went on the rides. And I had one of those horrible burps like I had tonight. And I mean, and then I just threw up all over their hippie van. And I just remember her mom being so nice about it and everything. But through the beauty of Facebook, my friend connected with me a few years ago. She was like, do you remember that huge frog burp that you let before you barfed all over my parents' van? I was like, yes. So after this burp today, I totally thought of her and was like, oh my gosh, I gotta see how she is, and you know, say hi and let her know I had another one of those burps. It's just things like that, you know, those don't cost a thing. That's the thing, is that, you know, don't let this holiday be about what you can and can't afford. Let it be about sharing a memory, and things fall into place. Right now, inflation just sucks. And you may have to get your kiddo whatever it is that they wanted when you get your income tax return, and give them something for now, and tell them that the store was out of that item, and that maybe Santa is gonna make another delivery in like March. That Santa said that, he's gonna do a couple of deliveries this year. That he's gonna kind of split things up. I don't know. Do something like that. It's okay. Those kind of white lies, they're all right. Sometimes you gotta do that. You know. So hang in there, everybody. And I will talk to you guys again soon. And thank you for listening to part 14 of the Watts Discovery. Thank you. Bye bye.